Hi, I'm Nate with Average Jack Archery Pro Shop and Range here in Phillipsburg, PA, and today I want to go over my hunting setup from top to bottom for 2024. So if you're a regular viewer of the channel and you saw me back in April, and I want you, the regular followers of the channel, if you see me shooting anything other than this summer as my hunting setup, I want you to scream in the comments, Nate, don't change. You promised you wouldn't. I told you to hold me to it, and here I stand with the exact same rig. However many months later, here we are on a beautiful day here in August. Season's right around the corner for most of the country. Pennsylvania doesn't open up until October 5th, so I have a little bit longer to wait yet. But since I've had this bow set up exactly the way I've shot it all summer, it's been like riding a bike. And so it's not one of those things where, you know, I've had this massive change from last year to this year, do my Bohning string cables. I've been shooting it, I've been active with it, and so I know what maintenance it does need, which thankfully this is a brand new Elite Ethos, brand new for 2024 from Elite Archery. I'm shooting at 31 inches and 70 pounds. I'm shooting around 80-ish% let off. I'm shooting the limb stops. I'm shooting a Hamskea Trinity. I did upgrade to a Epsilon launcher blade. I'm kind of a cowboy. I don't shoot it with the cage. It just kind of gets in my way, and it hasn't failed me yet. Knock on wood. One thing I've always done in the past is I've always run a front bar, back bar. I'm a big fan of Bee Stinger and CBE stabilizers. Traditionally ran the CBE Torx Hunter set, 11 and 7-inch here. But this year I wanted to clean up the package a little bit, make it a little bit more compact, but still get phenomenal balance. I mean, this bow is literally just hanging here on my thumb, and I'm getting great balance out of this Bee Stinger dovetail counter slide. So I have, I think, what, 5 or 6 ounces? Yeah, 5 ounces here on the back and just 1 ounce on the front, and this bow is holding like an absolute rock, and particularly for a hunting bow. I do like longer axle-to-axle bows. I've done videos on how I think a lot of people could shoot the longer axle-to-axle platforms for whatever company you do want to actually shoot with. I think shooting a little bit longer axle-to-axle in today's market just gives you the extra stability, and realistically, this is still not a big bow. I did shoot this for 3D in the IBO all summer long. Couple podium, top 5, top 4 finishes, and this was a really, really successful platform for me. I am shooting with performance mods, and with my 3D rig, a 410 grain arrow, I was getting 317 feet a second. Now, I know I'm a 31-inch draw and I'm shooting 70 pounds, but even still, this arrow right here is new for me anyway. I've never shot a Kinetic Chaos from Gold Tip before, but I decided to give it a try. It's a 5mm arrow. I do like Gold Tip's footer and half-out system more than anybody else in the industry. Victory does make a decent one, but they kind of like chamfer it real weird. It's really grooved. Chews up bag targets like you wouldn't believe. And this is a really heavy arrow, 10.4 GPI. So this is like your Easton Axis. You know, your FMJ, something like that. This total arrow with a lighted nock weighs 517 grains, which was not my intention at all. I like to shoot like a 440 to 470 normal, like a Gold Tip XT Hunter, a Series Supernova, which I've shot in the past, with 125 grain point and stock insert. That's what I really like to shoot. And I get great speed out of that, and I get great trajectory, and I get amazing penetration with a fixed blade broadhead or a small cutting mechanical. We'll talk about broadheads in a minute. But I just chronoed this bow yesterday, and I'm working on sight tapes today, and it's going 285 feet a second with a 517 grain arrow. That is absolutely cooking. I've never had an arrow of that weight go anywhere near this fast. And the Ethos, like I said in April, the draw cycle is fantastic. I'm usually not a 70-pound shooter, but it's so quiet. It's so vibration free. The loudest thing here shooting in the backyard is the arrow actually whacking the bag target down range. It's just been a really good platform for me. If you're still on the fence about upgrading right before season in 2024, definitely give the Ethos a look. Now, I'm a big Hamskea fan. I do like their Insight Peeps for target, so that's what I'm continuing to run here. I didn't change a thing, basically. I just unbolted my target stuff and put my hunting stuff on here. I took the clarifier out, so I am running this at the max 3/16. Hamskea makes a great Peep. That baffling system in there really cuts down on glare, which is really nice. New for me this year, I'm shooting the CBE Trek 2V. So this is a direct mount sight. This little guy here is how I hook it into a his strap when I'm saddle hunting. I have videos on that. I'll link them down in the description below. But this is a fixed 2-pin slider sight. And I'll do a video on how to sight this in and whatnot at a later date. Again, if I've done it already, I'll link it down in the description below. But this has been a phenomenal sight for me. It's a short, compact slider sight, which I really do like. I'd like to, obviously, for target, the long, you know, dovetail out there. I can stretch it out. I can get exactly the peep that I want. But here I have it running as close as possible so I get much travel out of my sight as possible. And this sight here at that, I think it's around the $250, $240 street price, has a positive stop, first, second, and third axis, micro tune everything. It's just been a really good performing sight for me. Has the fibers right here on top, so you get all that available light. You can add a light here. I just have the twist light in. I'll eventually add my ETAC that I use for target all summer. Now, I'm not a quiver on shooter, so I don't have it on here, but I do have the mounting bracket on here for this CBE Adapt quiver. I have become a tremendous fan of riser mounted quivers over the past few years. Not necessarily a two-piece quiver that stays on permanently, because I do like to take the quiver off. It's a lot of extra weight, although it still balances very, very well. There I'm holding a little bit there with my index finger, but there's all the thumb. So even with the riser mounted quiver on there, fully loaded with 3 very heavy arrows, it still balances out really well. The CBE Adapt is probably one of the better priced riser mounted quivers out there. Offers all the adjustment both laterally and vertically to fit all your arrows. Since I have a really long draw length, I have really long arrows, I like to have a quiver that I can push up, you know, to meet the top cam and still fit everything. So I don't have all my fletching sticking out the bottom, which is a problem I've always had with sight mounted quivers. So you can see, I mean, I've changed that point by about, 6-7 inches at least. And so being able to adjust all that and be able to sit it within the package of the bow, it's just really nice when I'm picking the bow up from the ground, when I get to my saddle height or my tree stand height or whatever. It's just been a really nice clean package. It's very lightweight, machined aluminum everything. Obviously the hood is going to be polycarbonate, but I've really enjoyed this quiver so far this summer, and I plan to really have a lot of success with it this fall. I've actually never shot with this quiver on. Now I'm kind of curious here. We're only at 20 yards, but just see what the balance is like at full draw. Yeah, it's a little tippy to the right, but still not too bad, and actually not that loud considering how much arrow is sticking out the bottom. Now, as for the business end of this arrow, I'm going to be floating between 2 broadheads. I'm going to be shooting the Grim Reaper Pro Series 4-blade. It's the bigger brother of the Mini Mag, which is one of my favorite broadheads that Grim Reaper makes. It's an 1 3/8 by 1 3/8 4-blade, which is a pretty significant size cut. I've shot the Mini Mags with great success for a couple of years. That 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, I think even on the lighter pounded, shorter draw archers can still shoot that broadhead. But since this arrow is so daggum heavy, for me anyway, and also has so much kinetic energy going 285 feet a second, I was like, let's try a bigger cut broadhead and let's just see what happens. So I'm going to try out the Pro Series 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. I'm also definitely, of course, going to be screwing on a Magnus Black Hornet, also in 125 grain. The Black Hornet for me is just an absolute terror flying down range, and I've had tremendous success since they launched it, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. It's been inarguably my favorite broadhead from Magnus. I get asked all the time, do you shoot the serrated or the straight edge? In the Black Hornet, I shoot the straight edge. In the serrated, Stinger in the buzz cut. I don't know why. That's just the 2 broadheads that I gravitate to the most. I might shoot a buzz cut. Why not? Throw that in there as well. But I get great flight out of all those heads I just mentioned. And if you're in the market for a good mechanical, I would definitely try out the Mini Mag if you need that smaller cut. If you're looking for a fixed blade, it's really hard to go wrong with the Magnus. Of course, I'm always going to be wearing Huntworth Camo. This is their disruption pattern. We just launched Vertec here a couple weeks ago, the beginning of August. If you're interested in checking out Huntworth gear, right now we're running a 30% off preseason sale through September 1st at midnight on all disruption and turn-in patterns. Vertec's currently not on sale because it's a brand new item. Maybe wait till September though. But anyway, at this point, I'm definitely gonna be running all disruption. It's my favorite pattern from Huntworth. Vertec will be sprinkled in there obviously as well, being brand new. But if you're interested in some new camo, windproof, waterproof, wicking, quick drying, scent reducing, we have it all. In particular, something like the Elkins, which can really take you from like your 50-degree weather down to your 30-degree weather with the proper layering. I wear the Elkins bibs with a 2-way hip zip all the time. They're going to run you less than $200 on sale. Windproof, waterproof film, ultra quiet fleece exterior, knee patches, and a rear patch. It's definitely worth trying out. If you're interested, huntworthgear.com. So that's all for this video on what I'm taking with me into the woods this fall. If you have any questions about any of the gear that I use, whether I mentioned it or did not, please do follow the links in the description below. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. You can always leave a comment here on YouTube or send me an email, averagejackarchery@gmail.com. If you're interested in trying out a bow from Elite or Gold Tip Arrows, CB sights, or anything else realistically in the sport of archery and bow hunting, you're always welcome to come down to our store, 21 North Front Street in Phillipsburg, PA. And we also have some Huntworth gear in there to sell. A lot of the lightweight and midweight options, just like the Elkins bibs that I mentioned. Hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation. And if you're not shooting your bow, get out and do it a lot. And we'll get to see you next time.